Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today we have Final Stand expansion beta gameplay. Anybody can play this as long as you have Battlefield Premium on the PC. You can just go download CTE and basically play any of the new Final Stand maps, including all the vehicles and weapons that spawn in them. The second launch of the Final Stand expansion is to get some last feedback before they basically finalize this expansion and ship it out to everybody. And it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, we can fix a lot of the problems before they come out in the expansion rather than having to do some emergency patches when the game finally launches. But on the other hand, it also kind of takes away from some of the surprise or some of the excitement from the expansion, because you can clock as many hours as you want right now playing this expansion and your experience probably isn't going to be too much different from the actual launch. That being said, the amount of bugs that we usually see in a Battlefield expansion is probably for the best that they're letting us play the game now. If you're fortunate enough to have played the alpha version of this in CTE a while back, you probably noticed a bunch of bugs. A lot of those have been fixed. In fact, all around the beta feels quite polished, and I would expect quality very similar to this from a final product. Many of the new battle pickups and vehicles have also been tweaked based on our feedback. The XD1 has now been properly updated with better sounds to make it sound a little bit more scary. It's a bit harder to control, not quite as much like an MAV. You need a little bit more skill to fly it around, especially on internals. And they've also improved the third-person camera. Before, the HT-95 hover tank could actually drive over a lot of landmines without setting them off, which a lot of people thought was actually a feature, but since the thing is actually shooting rocket jets straight down at the ground to get its levitation, it would probably set off mines anyway. That has been updated so that the hover tank will actually detonate mines, and you're not going to get that added benefit anymore. The controls also got updated, so they should be a bit smoother this time around. The Rorsch railgun has had its damage changed up a bit. No longer does it have a splash damage that can hurt vehicles. Also, it's not going to one-shot air vehicles anymore, which made it an incredibly powerful weapon in the alpha. It was very easy to take down helicopters and jets non-stop, and since it had an almost instantaneous travel time, it was very easy. They've also changed the travel time so that you are going to have to lead a few of your targets at distances. This is not to say that it's not going to be a good weapon for taking down helicopters. You can pretty much disable most choppers in one hit still, so 2 shots should be able to kill most of them. Obviously, the massive bug with those mounted shotgun style turrets that could basically flip any vehicle or destroy helicopters from just about any range on the map, that has been changed. They're really designed now to really just blast infantry and do a little bit of damage to lightly armored vehicles. The DS3 decoy device, which I imagine is actually going to get a decent amount of use, has been updated so that you can throw it a bit further distance, and it has a time delay on it. So rather than activating immediately and letting the enemy know that, hey, there's a guy right here right now, it's going to have a few seconds, and then the enemy is going to start chasing after the decoy. Also, the cannons that are in Hangar 21 that are designed to launch you across the map have essentially been finished. You can see all the cool models of them now. They're not bugging out, and they're kind of cool to look at. I still haven't shot somebody with them, but I'm looking forward to getting a roadkill with one eventually. Now, I've only spent a couple hours in the beta so far. I plan on spending quite a few more, but I will say that it is feeling a lot more solid overall, especially considering how just buggy the alpha was. No more of those weird tank flipping turrets around, which is definitely going to change how the maps play out. And now that we can kind of see how the maps are meant to play out, I will say that transportation as an infantry is a bit of a job in these maps. There are a lot of smaller vehicles that can kind of zoom you around quickly, but there's many situations where your teammates just grab them all and you're sort of the last guy on the point waiting for a ride from somebody. It's sort of like musical chairs with ATVs and snowmobiles. Now, in terms of the overall map designs, these are definitely classic style Battlefield maps. And what do I mean by that? They are large, they facilitate 64-player gameplay, and there are tons of vehicles. And you are definitely going to see the food chain of Battlefield 4 firsthand while playing any of these maps. It goes jets at the top of the scoreboard, helicopters one rung down, tank and APC drivers one rung below that, and then infantry below all of that. These maps are going to be heavily vehicle dominated. If you're not in a vehicle, you better find some crevice to hide in as an infantry player. And in fairness, they have made a lot of enclosed areas in these maps for infantry to kind of battle it out. But if you go outside of those enclosed areas, which usually just involves 2 capture points in a 5 or 7 capture point map, then you're kind of out of luck. You're just going to get blown up by a chopper or a tank or the next sniper that sees you from across the map. I wouldn't go as far as saying that this is Armored Kill 2.0, but if you are familiar with China Rising maps, I will say they are going to play out very similarly to a lot of those maps, minus, say, Guilin Peaks. It is a little bit more infantry friendly, but not a lot more. So pilots, it's really your time to rejoice. Although there are no jets in Operation Whiteout, they do exist in each of the other maps, so you should have no problem getting a lot of good jet servers up there. Helicopters also have a place on every single map here, and you can even get double attack helicopters on one team on some of the maps. And if you don't like playing in vehicles, then I highly recommend checking out some of Matimio Sraw videos and learning how to shoot things out of the sky or engage them from extremely long distances. Now, despite the name of the expansion, Final Stand, and the suggestions that it is the last downloadable content that at least comes with the premium edition of Battlefield, there have been a lot of rumors that they might be doing another map pack, or there might be some new content coming out for Battlefield 4. I think this would be a great idea, especially considering that Battlefield 4 is designed to play alongside of Battlefield Hardline and not necessarily get replaced by Battlefield Hardline, because definitely those two Battlefield games are going to cater to different audiences, at least thematically. So if you have the opportunity to play Battlefield CTE and try out the new maps, I highly recommend it. It's a worthwhile experience, and you have the opportunity to give some feedback and actually change the final product. And if you have had the opportunity to play the Final Stand beta, let me know what you think of it in the comments. Is this a good finale to Battlefield 4? Do you think it's the finale? And what kind of things might you want to see changed with it? As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.